Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking exactly how Jakarta EE is serving as the remastered engine powering today's most complex enterprise applications. Think about it for a second. The last time you made a secure banking transaction, booked a global flight, or, finalized a massive corporate purchase online. Behind the scenes, businesses are constantly facing this massive challenge. How do you adapt to brand new technology trends and skyrocketed consumer demands, while at the exact same time ensuring absolute stability, data privacy, and zero downtime? Well, the answer to that almost always lies in the engine running under the hood.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty crucial question. When businesses need to scale and secure massive applications, what foundational blueprint are they actually relying on? Look, if you're building a simple consumer app or spinning up a quick startup prototype, you've got a million choices, and frankly, you can afford to move fast and break things. But when you are building for the enterprise, where things like data integrity, security compliance, and just massive transaction volumes are absolutely non-negotiable, you can't just wing it. You really need a bedrock foundation that's been thoroughly battle-tested.
To get to the bottom of this bedrock, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll track the evolution from Java to Jakarta. Second, we'll dive into the core features and architecture. Third, we'll look at its role in modern enterprise apps. And finally, we'll peek into the future of enterprise tech.
All right, Section 1, from Java to Jakarta. Let's take a quick look at where this whole framework actually originated to understand why it's so powerful today.
At its absolute core, Jakarta EE acts as a master blueprint. It's not just a single rigid tool or a standalone piece of software you download. Instead, it's this brilliant set of specifications. Basically, it's a standardized toolkit designed specifically to make developing massively scalable and secure enterprise applications, well, a whole lot easier. Imagine if every single construction company had to invent their own unique type of cement before they could even start building a house. I mean, that would be incredibly inefficient, right? Jakarta EE provides that universal, enterprise-grade cement. It gives developers trusted specifications so they can focus on building the actual features rather than completely reinventing the wheel every single time.
And if we trace this back along the timeline, we see a really pivotal shift. Originally, this framework was known as Java EE, developed by Sun Microsystems, and for decades it was the absolute gold standard for multi-tier applications. It was silently running the back end of thousands of global corporations under the stewardship of Sun and then eventually Oracle. But then, in 2017, a massive shift happened. The stewardship of Java EE was entirely transferred away from Oracle over to the Eclipse Foundation, and that monumental handover is exactly what led to the rebranding we know today as Jakarta EE.
Now, this 2017 shift wasn't just a simple name change or a fresh coat of paint. It was a fundamental shift in philosophy. We moved from tight, top-down corporate stewardship directly into a dynamic, collaborative, totally open-source environment under the Eclipse Foundation. So why does this actually matter to you? Because open source means faster, community-driven innovation. Think of it kind of like moving from a private, walled corporate estate where only a few executives get to decide what flowers are planted into a massive global community garden. It encourages contributions from incredibly diverse developers all over the world, meaning the framework adapts rapidly to real-world developer needs and modern cloud realities rather than just waiting around for a single corporate roadmap.
Moving right along to Section 2, Core Features and Architecture. Let's pop the hood and see how this remastered engine actually works and what its building blocks are.
So we've got four main core features here, and together they provide a really comprehensive suite of tools that make enterprise development highly efficient. First up, standardized APIs. These act like universal translators, covering everything from data persistence to web services, which ensures your apps remain completely portable across any compliant server. Next is the component-oriented architecture. This gives you highly reusable parts, literally saving thousands of developer hours. Then we have scalability support, which handles intelligent clustering and load balancing, making sure your application doesn't completely crash the second you hit that massive Black Friday traffic spike. And finally, robust security mechanisms. These handle the heavy lifting of encryption, authentication, and authorization, keeping your data locked down tight and ensuring you stay compliant with strict regulations like HIPAA or GDPR, all without breaking a sweat.
Think of it kind of like building a massive skyscraper. Because of those standardized APIs and that component-oriented architecture, it practically guarantees that your modules, which are essentially the individual floors and rooms of your skyscraper, can be securely lifted and shifted anywhere without the whole building collapsing. Because you're using these heavily tested, reusable components, your development cycles become significantly faster.
Plus, long-term maintenance becomes incredibly streamlined. It truly is a master blueprint for ensuring both total portability and flexible modularity.
Which brings us to Section 3, Modern Enterprise Applications. Let's explore how this architecture holds up and actually thrives in today's highly dynamic business landscape.
Make no mistake, Jakarta EE is actively powering today's absolute most cutting-edge deployments. First off, it natively supports cloud-native development for virtually infinite scaling in environments like AWS or Azure. It's also perfectly tuned for microservices architecture, utilizing RESTful web services to decouple independent systems so that if one thing fails, it doesn't bring down your whole app. And on top of that, it seamlessly integrates with modern lifelines like Docker containers, Kubernetes orchestration, and completely ties into your CI/CD pipelines to automate your testing. What that really means is your developers can confidently deploy new updates on a Friday afternoon without that terrifying fear of breaking the entire system.
But hey, let's be real for a second. What if you aren't an agile startup starting from scratch? A lot of large enterprises, think major insurance firms or global logistics companies, have massive, mission-critical legacy systems. Well, for those organizations, Jakarta EE provides a highly structured, step-by-step pathway to modernize. Step 1, you refactor your existing applications using modern design principles. Step 2, you carefully re-architect them into independent, decoupled services. And Step 3, you deploy those newly modular components into scalable cloud environments. It's honestly a brilliant way to breathe new life and modern performance into older operations without just ripping out the very foundation that your entire business runs on.
Finally, Section 4, the future of enterprise tech. Let's look at where this community-driven engine is heading next amidst continuous digital transformation.
As the source material points out, quote, "The move towards open-source development has accelerated innovation within Jakarta EE, leading to more frequent updates and enhancements." And that is huge. In a world where technology shifts practically overnight with advancements in AI, edge computing, and zero-trust security, having a stagnant framework is basically a death sentence. But because this ecosystem relies entirely on the diverse, highly active community within the Eclipse Foundation, businesses can trust it to adapt rapidly to whatever emerging trends come next. It's a living, breathing ecosystem built by the exact developers who rely on it every single day.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. How much longer can those monolithic legacy systems really hold your business back? By leaning into this open-source master blueprint, you have the actual power to decouple, modernize, and scale securely, setting your teams up for literally decades of future-proof growth. The remastered engine is there. It's fully open source, and it's waiting for you to turn the key. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and if you're planning your next architectural roadmap, I highly recommend giving Jakarta EE a much deeper look.